I'm going to explain a Marxist feminist view of the family, along with the evaluations. Tom from the sociologytutor.com here. Let's get started. They argue that the reason women are oppressed in the family, in the home, is due to capitalism. The roles that women fulfill in family life benefit the capitalist system. So let's go through how that might happen. Firstly, women do a huge amount of unpaid domestic labour, cleaning the house, looking after the children, getting, suits and clothes ready for work the next day. If women were to stop doing that, just imagine how much stress there would be in the workplace. Men wouldn't be able to go to work in the way that they do because they would be coming home doing huge amounts of domestic work and they would be tired, they would be exhausted. So the argument is women's work directly benefits these big companies, the business owners, the bourgeoisie. The second criticism is that women are effectively a stress valve for capitalism, that men go to work, they become stressed by their time at work, and they come home and they commit domestic violence. So Frananzi is the major theorist here. Frananzi said that women are takers of shit, that they are the pressure valve that gets released. Men come home from work and they commit domestic abuse because of the stresses of capitalism. The third way that women's roles in the family benefit the capitalist system is they act as a reserve army of labour. What we mean by this is women are kept in reserve by the capitalist system, and when it's growing they can be brought into the workforce, often taking low paid and temporary work, and then they can easily be fired again based on the assumption that they will return to their main role in the home. So because women's main role is assumed to be in the home, they can be taken on by the capitalist system and fired quite easily as and when it's growing. Marxist feminists argue that the nuclear family would dissolve in a communist society, in a classless society where there wasn't the ruling business owners, the bourgeoisie and the worker. In a communist society where everyone was equal and resources were shared equally, the family would dissolve and therefore women's oppression would end. So criticisms of this view, of course, are that that isn't what's happened in communist societies. The nuclear family has still been the most common family setup in those societies, and women have still been oppressed in those societies too. There isn't a huge amount of evidence to say that, or really any evidence to say that in a communist society, family life was less patriarchal. Secondly, women's roles have changed significantly. There's a more equal share of domestic chores, so it's harder to argue that women are supporting capitalism in the way that they might have done. Another criticism of a Marxist feminist view is that they ignore all the other ways in which men oppress women in family life, which may not be related to an economic function. So for example, power and decision making. Men make, evidence shows that men make most of the important decisions in family life. It's hard to see how this directly benefits capitalism, and therefore other feminists would criticise a Marxist feminist view for focusing too much on trying to explain women's oppression in relation to a capitalist system. There are 4 types of feminism you need to know if you're studying A-level sociology. Click on my Theories of the Family playlist to see the rest of them,